Guys, today's video touches a topic that many people refuse to speak about, yet it affects families across generations. We are reacting to two Caribbean voices who boldly brought attention to something rarely addressed publicly: incest, hidden abuse, and the silence surrounding it. Now, this isn't about judging entire communities. It's about acknowledging realities that exist in many places, not just in the islands, from the Caribbean to Africa, from South Asia to certain parts of India. These patterns repeat more often than people want to admit. Today's reactions, guys, we are breaking down how geography, family secrecy, historical traditions, and deep social taboos all collide to create an environment where people can be related without knowing, while others knowingly protect old family customs, even when they cause harm. This conversation is necessary to all of us, and the goal is healing and awareness, not shame.
I just found out that I'm a child of incest. So I found this out because my grandfather passed away. And then I found out that my grandfather is also my uncle because he's my mom's brother, half brother. But he's also my father's father. So my mother married her nephew and had me. And my father fell in love with my auntie because he has HIV and she was very accepting of it. So he married her and had me. So this is my mom. This is me. This is my dad. This is my grandpa and uncle. See, so my mom, her brother, you click on him. See, that's his sister and this is his son. You see that? This is his sister and this is his son. You click on him. They're married. You see?
What going on, y'all? Oh God, let me talk the story. Absolutely. It is disgusting how in the Caribbean they shun LGBTQ. Oh my God, the worst thing you can be is gay. The worst thing. Oh, put shame on the family. This, all that. If you're a homosexual, but we cover down and we hide the pedophiles. The pedophiles in the family, the big men that are running after the 12-year-old little girls, them 12, 13, 14. Don't even give the picnic them. Don't even give the children them the opportunity to be children. No, because we're groomed. They're groomed. As soon after 12 is lunch. So as soon as they turn 12 years old, the men them running after them. But we're not talking about that. And I know this is going to be controversial, and I know there are going to be enough people in my comment section talking about, oh, but Mel, this, and y'all are going to find all the excuses in the world on why being gay is a sin and why being gay is so bad. But y'all are not going to take that same time and that same energy to talk about why Uncle Bob molesting the little girls them in the family and we're covering it down. We're not going to talk about why Uncle Bob going after the people them 12-year-old daughter. Let's talk about it.
The Caribbean is so small that incest is such a regular thing that I rarely see people talk about. You could see all these cases on the internet, but you rarely see it on like the mainstream platforms. I mean, yeah, nobody wants to talk about incest, but that's a big topic. A lot of people be having sexual relationship with their family members and don't even know their families until they meet the family. They're like, oh, you're related to that person. Like in DR back in the old time, in order to keep the money inside the family, cousins will marry cousins to keep the family money in the same generation. Because if you married outside, you have to spread that money. And nobody wants to do that. People who work with kids also could say, yeah, a lot of times they see cases where siblings on siblings, cousin on cousin, and they don't know what they're doing because they're kids. I made a video about incest in the Caribbean, and I never thought it would have went in nowhere. But I read some of the comments, bro. I've noticed it's true. Incest in the Caribbean is a wild thing. A lot of people are related to each other and still sleep with each other and don't even know, because some of them don't even get tested until they have kids. And like, oh, you know, you guys are related, right? And you're like, No, especially if you live in the same area. I'm from Clarendon, and if you, the chances if you find somebody else in Clarendon that is related to you, literally is such an easy thing. I've known people that live in the area that I did not know I was related to until my mom be like, "Oh, you're related to them."
Cousins, good evening. This is taboo and nobody wouldn't be talking about it, but cousin talking about it, so hear me. After the age of 5 and 8 and thing, why are they not talking to all the children about having someone touching them down there? Tell it, you see just how you used to tell them, don't let tell your daughters and sons, don't let nobody touch all down there. Why we not continuing this conversation after that age? Sometimes incest is right in your house and you don't know it happening. Right in your household. And I'm only talking about this because I just had a conversation. This woman is shocked and appalled that her children, she make this boy and she make this girl, and it's incest is happening where? In her house. Never knew. Never talk about it. It outright wrong. It's not a cousin. Siblings. Same place they come from. So let us teach our children how wrong these things are. Let us tell them that we don't want any, just like how from 5 to 8 and saying boys and girls. And would you believe that it didn't come from the boy? The pressure was applied from the girl. You understand? So talk to both sexes about these experiments. That will let them know that no one should touch them down there unless it's consensual and they are at a particular age to understand what they're doing. Oh yeah, sometimes the grandpa, the uncle, the aunt touching these children, or let me talk to them about it. I'm only talking about it, like I said, because it was spoken to me today, and I was not shocked because it happens here. We see it all the time, but we don't talk about it. That is territory that is unknown, so we can't talk about that. But I'm talking about it. Talk to all the children about people touching them, about experiments, about all these things. Talk to them about incest. Let them see how wrong it is.
Now, listening to those clips, one thing becomes clear. The problem isn't just the act, it's the silence surrounding it. Both speakers point out how often people grow up in tight communities where everyone is connected, yet nobody fully understands their own family tree. That geography, those small towns and villages, create situations where young people form relationships without realizing they share bloodlines. Then there's the social piece. Many children are never told where their relatives actually are, or they grow up with missing information from one side of the family. When cousins or half-siblings don't know each other exist, the risk becomes real. It's not intentional, but it still leaves scars. And then we contrast that with knowing situations. In some places, families historically encouraged relatives to marry each other to keep wealth, land, or status in the family. Practices like this happened in the past, in the Dominican Republic, and they also occurred in royal families across Africa, Asia, and even Europe. The consequences didn't disappear just because traditions changed. The saddest part is how taboo the conversation remains. People speak loudly about everything else, yet avoid the issues happening right at home. Now, let's really talk about why this silence continues and why this topic is so painful for so many communities around the world. The first issue is family secrecy. For generations, many households avoid discussing paternity, half-siblings, extended cousins, and complicated family lines. When children don't know where they come from, they cannot protect themselves from accidental relationships with relatives. And this isn't unique to the Caribbean. The same thing happens in rural African communities, in some Indian families, and in many Asian regions where extended families stretch across entire villages. The second issue is male dominance and acknowledged fatherhood. When men have multiple partners across different communities, sometimes within the same small region, it creates large webs of children who grow up with limited knowledge of each other. A boy may date a girl from another street, not knowing they share the same father. A young woman may fall in love with someone who later turns out to be a cousin. By the time the truth emerges, feelings have been built, attachments formed, and in the worst case scenario, children already born. The third factor is the silence around abuse. The speakers describe how young girls, barely teenagers, are often pursued by grown men. This isn't tradition. This isn't culture, it's exploitation. And yet, instead of calling it out, many families prefer to hide it to, protect the family name. Some relatives know what's happening, but they whisper about it instead of confronting it. Others look the other way until the child is older and the damage is already done. This is where the hypocrisy becomes painful. Many people in society are quick to condemn someone for being gay, loud about calling it a sin, and passionate about shaming those individuals publicly. But when the abuse is happening inside their own home, when it's an uncle, a grandfather, a cousin, suddenly everything becomes quiet. Suddenly, protecting the abuser matters more than protecting the child. The contradiction destroys entire generations. Next, we have historical practices that left long-term consequences. In some Caribbean families, especially in earlier decades, cousins were encouraged to marry each other to preserve land and wealth. These traditions were not unique. Similar patterns existed among African chiefdoms, among Indians, and within Asian merchant families. Back then, the focus was inheritance, not genetics, not emotional well-being. Today, we are living with the echoes of those choices. But beyond all these factors, the biggest issue is the taboo itself. The silence, the refusal to educate children about their bodies, about consent, about inappropriate touching, about boundaries. When conversations stop after age 8, kids enter adolescence confused and unprotected. They don't know what's normal and what isn't. They don't know the difference between, curiosity and harm. And because no one talks openly, children who are abused grow up believing they must carry that secret forever. Others repeat the cycles without understanding why. Entire communities pretend the issue doesn't exist, even though nearly every family knows at least one case where accidental or intentional happened. But here's the truth. We need to acknowledge. Talking about it doesn't make the community look bad. Silence does. The only way to break generational cycles is through honesty, education, and accountability. Children must be taught early, both boys and girls, bodily autonomy and how to recognize inappropriate behavior. Families must know their own history, their own bloodlines, and share that information without shame. Communities must be brave enough to confront abusers, no matter their age, gender, or status. And finally, we must stop pretending these issues are unique to one place. Caribbean families, African families, Indian families, Asian families, so many cultures have stories like this hidden in the shadows. The only difference is who is willing to speak out. If we want healthier generations, safer homes, and stronger families, then conversations like this cannot remain taboo. They must become normal, open, and honest, because silence protects the wrong people, while truth protects the innocent. Guys, drop a comment. Let me know what are your thoughts. Also, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.